This is Old Homes Restored. The owners of the 1890s Queen Anne Victorian we're visiting today rebuilt nearly a third of the home here and back after the original structure was nearly lost to fire. Using period reproductions, like these Victorian-style windows, they expanded their home and transformed rubble into usable living space. The homeowner in our next story was also successful at transforming a useless structure into living space, but he faced the challenge of repurposing the entire building as part of the project. What do you do with an historic building that's no longer usable as a firehouse but can't be torn down, or even significantly changed on the outside because of historic preservation?
Practically the whole building was worn out and obsolete because it had built in 1906.
If you're architect Gaver Nichols, you buy it, restore it, and breathe new life into it as apartments in Camden, New Jersey's historic district. But repurposing an historic firehouse into livable space wasn't easy. In terms of challenges, you might say it was a four-alarmer.
One of the major obstacles in completing this project was to find people who could do the work and do more than one trade. For example, the cornice work at the top of the building involved brick repair, framing repair, cornice installation.
The complexity of the restoration challenges in this project would require craftsmen of extraordinary skill. Nichols turned to restoration specialist Ted Lenhart.
One of the main problems that we faced was that it seemed like an incredible mountain before us to try to deal with. It took us 2 years to get it done.
Through close examination of the original details, they were able to match salvaged parts and reproductions.
Back in 1906, they had the cornice in this Renaissance Revival style building that actually acted somewhat like a guttering system. So that over the years that had deteriorated, and I was able to take a piece of the original cornice, take it down, save it, and actually take it to a man in Maryland who's able to replicate it exactly as it was built in 1906. A very big challenge for me was to find some slate that would have been similar in color to the original building, and I actually tracked it down up in Vermont and had it shipped down here. And we installed a 100-year slate roof on the structure.
Gaver elected to keep the original skylight. Restoring it was no easy task, in part because the original walls beneath would be removed in order to be renovated.
The obstacles specifically included a number of structural challenges where we held up the skylight on the top of the roof to create the rental unit below it. I wanted to bring all the natural light down, but we did remove bearing walls. And we ended up dismantling it and repairing it exactly as it would have been in 1906.
Ted worked to restore the more than 60 windows, but he says the bay window alone was a major undertaking.
It consisted of virtually thousands of individual pieces that had to be specially made right there at the site to duplicate what was originally there.
Decades ago, the old fire tower was nearly destroyed by fire itself. But to Gaver, this just created another opportunity.
During our renovation, we actually dismantled the old burnt-out stairs, and we replaced it with 3 levels of infill flooring, which now house a powder room, closets, and access to the roof, and actually a tremendous view of the Philadelphia skyline beyond.
Having maintained the historical integrity of the firehouse exterior, Gaver and Ted managed to retain touches of the old firehouse in the renovation inside as well.
We decided to take the connotation of a fire station, the color red, the brass piping, the black spiral stairs, and try to use those elements of design in a new way.
With 2 years of hard work behind them, Gaver and Ted have no regrets.
We were all working very hard to get the thing to come together, and it's a fine piece of history to have saved there.
People often ask me, would I do it again? And I think my answer is overwhelmingly yes.